Today I want to talk about some camera rules that I break basically every time I pull my camera out, and breaking those rules helps me work faster and makes my job a lot easier, whether I'm shooting for clients or I'm shooting for myself. By the way, my name is Ivan, I'm a professional photographer and videographer. I work a lot with businesses and brands, helping them create content for social as well as doing weddings. If you're new to my channel, go below and subscribe. Let's get back to the topic. So the first rule we're breaking is we're ditching the ND filter for video. Usually you would use an ND filter to keep within the 180 shutter degree rule, which means your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. So if you're shooting 24 frames per second, your shutter speed would have to be 148 or 150th, which gives you the perfect motion blur. Now, if my scene doesn't have too much movement, I really don't care about motion blur. If I'm shooting maybe a car driving or something like that, I would want it. But if I'm just shooting some random event, something for social media, I really don't care about it because it doesn't give you or take away that much in usual situations. So I just ditch the ND filter and write the shutter speed to give me the correct exposure, and that way it makes my job a lot easier. Why does it make it easier? Because a lot of the stuff that I shoot is hybrid, which means I shoot both photos and video. So going between photos and video, I don't have to think about removing my ND filter, getting my settings right for the photos, then putting the ND filter back, adjusting it, getting the settings right for the video. I can switch between one and the other a lot faster, which makes my job a lot more easier. I lose less shots both in photo and video, and that makes me a lot more productive when I'm shooting for clients, makes me faster, and gets me a lot more usable footage and photos to deliver to the clients. And if you really care about motion blur, you can still get it with some plugins that create fake motion blur out of clips that don't actually have it. Some of them work well, some of them don't work the best, but there definitely are some options out there if you really want to put the motion blur back into your footage, but for most cases it's not really needed. With all of these rules, we'll mostly be talking about video just because video has many more rules and photography is a bit easier with shooting raw and having the ability to recover much more stuff in post. So for photography, as long as your photos are sharp, you will be okay. Now let's go to the second rule. The second rule I break is I shoot for slow motion whatever I'm shooting. So I don't think about every clip that I'm shooting, whether I want it in slow motion or not. I just shoot everything in 60 frames per second, and that gives me the most flexibility in post. So usually I shoot at 60 frames per second, and that gives me the ability to slow my footage down up to 40%. This gives me a lot more flexibility in post. So shooting for slow motion, even if you're not gonna do slow motion, gives you so much flexibility. I do 60 frames per second both on my camera as well as on my drone. This makes sure that whatever I want to pull off in post, I can pull it off. If I want the clip normal speed, if I want it slow motion, I just do whatever is needed to make the best video for my clients. And this just helps a ton because sometimes things happen quick and maybe I want to make it slower, stretch it out to fit the music better or to fit the story better, and shooting for slow motion really helps me with that. So this way I can just capture everything and then think about it in post. A lot of the things that I shoot don't really have a script, don't have a shot list, and are not acted out. I shoot a lot with businesses while they are working, while things are happening fast, so I don't really have the luxury to fumble around with the camera a lot. That's also why I use zoom lenses a lot, why I don't use a gimbal, because it just makes my work faster and makes me ready at any point to shoot anything. And that's also why I rely on breaking these rules. When I'm shooting something where I have a script or where I have time to fumble with my camera and set everything up, I will set it up correctly, but most of the time I don't have that option. So I rely on breaking all of these rules to make my job easier and make sure I manage to get everything that I need for my clients. The next thing is I don't really rig up my camera for video shoots because I do hybrid work, so rigging up the camera really slows me down with photography if I have handles on the camera, because a lot of the time when you have a handle it's hard harder to get to your buttons and to change all of your settings. Now, rigging up a camera can be really useful when you're shooting only and just video, but when you're doing hybrid work, just a clean, simple camera without any additional handles or anything like that really is the best thing you can do. If I'm doing just a video shoot, I probably will throw on a handle or two onto the camera just to help me with more grip options, but if you're doing hybrid work, rigging up the camera, even if video is the main part, really doesn't help you. You can always have two cameras, then rig up one and use the other one for photography, but I find that this makes me a lot slower when shooting, so rigging up the camera, in my opinion, really doesn't make sense if you're doing hybrid work. Now, I'm not saying that rigging up the camera when you're shooting video is a rule, but a lot of people really like rigging their camera up, and I really don't. So that's it. And lastly, when it comes to framing my photos, whenever I'm working for clients, as I said, I mostly work for creating content for their social media, which means basically every photo that I take is vertical, intended for Instagram to fit the crops that Instagram gives you, fill the space on the screen, and make sure that my clients have nice photos for their feed. So even when a photo would work better horizontally, I try to make it fit into the vertical frame. So that kind of breaks the rules of photography, because you should be framing the scene the best way possible you can, and if a scene works better horizontally, it would make sense to frame it horizontally, but horizontal photos don't work that well on Instagram, so I do a lot of vertical stuff. I don't know if that counts for this video, but that's what I do. I think that's it for this video. I hope this helped you. This is not something new. I think I already talked about it on the channel, but I never made a dedicated video about it. So if you found this useful, let me know, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.